In the dead of night, the Viridian forest becomes like a bottomless black pit, where almost no one dares to enter. And those who dare return changed, if they return at all. It is said that some Pokémon, which people always thought were cute, take on a strange appearance in the dark. A young trainer named Kai decided to find a mysterious Pokémon that supposedly appeared in the forest every full moon night. People called him a shadow that moves fast and quietly. The trainer readied himself, taking a flashlight and a few of his Pokémon for protection. As he entered the thicket, he began to notice something strange. The trees seemed to be watching him, and the wind brought strange whispers. Finally, he heard footsteps. Or was it scratching in the leaves? And here, in the light of the lantern, appeared a figure he had never seen before. It was a Pokémon, or something like it. Her eyes were burning, and as she took a step forward, Kai felt a chill wash over his body. Kai stopped, not daring to take a single step forward. It was enough for the figure in the lantern light to disappear, leaving behind only the rustle of dry leaves. Kai decided that it was just a figment of his imagination and moved on, even though the shadows around him seemed closer and darker. Suddenly, he saw a small candle in the distance flickering in the distance, and a faint voice called out, "Follow the light, Kai. We're waiting." His Pokémon, Pikachu, which he was holding in his arms, began to tremble and make muffled squeaks. It seemed that something was wrong. Kai tried to calm the Pokémon down, but he couldn't control his anxiety either. Who said his name? How did they know he was coming? His instincts screamed at him to run, but his temptation to learn what lay in that darkness kept him moving forward. He went deeper and deeper until the forest was completely silent. That's when the Pokémon appeared again, but this time it didn't run away. His body seemed translucent, and his eyes burned with a cold, merciless light. "You were looking for me, Kai," a deep, ominous voice sounded right inside his head. "From now on you will stay here. With me. Forever." Kai tried to pick Pikachu up, but his hands went through him like he was a shadow. His Pokémon looked blurry and shaking as if disappearing before his eyes. Kai's heart raced as he realized that the Pokémon he was looking for was no ordinary creature. It was something else, something that lived in the dark and fed on the fear of those who ventured too far. As the forest finally enveloped Kai, his scream faded into the eerie silence of the night. Kai stood there, paralyzed with terror. He tried to move, but his legs would not obey. It seemed that the roots of the trees wrapped around his ankles, as if not allowing him to go. His breathing became heavy and a cold sweat ran down his back. The dark figure of the Pokémon was getting closer, and with it the sense of an invisible force that was draining the energy from his very body grew. Kai began to remember the legends of the forest, stories of trainers who disappeared without a trace, as if someone or something was waiting for them in the depths of this darkness. He thought about the fact that no legend just happens. And then the Pokémon spoke again, but more ominously, changing its voice to an ominous whisper. "Your name now belongs to the darkness, and your spirit will become part of the forest. You will not leave here again." Kai tried his best to look away, but the apparition of the Pokémon continued to hypnotically pull him towards her. Pikachu disappeared without a trace, and the forest itself seemed alive. It breathed as if swallowing the light of his lantern, absorbing the last hope of salvation. In desperation, Kai tried to cling to reality, but suddenly felt his own shadow begin to separate from his body, obeying the specter. His image became ghostly, blurred, and the shadow began to become a separate being, a new prisoner of the forest. After that, Kai disappeared. Everyone who came to look for him later found only an abandoned lantern and strange marks on the ground, as if from claws that led deep into the darkness and then broke off. From then on, whenever anyone ventured into the forest under a full moon, a small voice was heard whispering their names, beckoning them to join its dark company. Now, under the moonlight, the shadows in the trees still looked like Kai, but who knew if it was him or just an illusion? It is said that the forest is always waiting for new visitors to collect more lost souls for the Dark Army.